you know that every word you speak matters? Are your conversations making a difference? With a passion for words and a heart for conversation, Teresa Velardi is a self-professed word nerd, best-selling author, BizCat 360 columnist, and publisher. Children's books as well as fiction and nonfiction books are welcomed at We Be Books Publishing and Book Endeavors, the imprints of her company, Authentic Endeavors Publishing. Whether written or spoken, Teresa strives to encourage and inspire meaningful conversations that make a difference. Here's the host of Conversations That Make a Difference, Teresa Velardi.
Welcome, everyone. I can't believe it's the middle of October already, and we are right smack in the middle of our Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and I am so grateful to have some warrior women with me today to talk about their experiences. But before we get started, I want to remind everyone that you can listen to Conversations That Make a Difference live every first and third Tuesday of the month. And you can watch the replays by going to dreamvision7radionetwork.com. So let me first start off, as I always do, with prayer for us to begin our day. I usually start with the Serenity Prayer. So if you would just listen along as we go, close your eyes if you like, and we'll say, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And I want to also say that today we are grateful to be fabulous, blessed, and highly favored while living in our greatness, using our God-given gifts and talents with passion and purpose. We are all making a difference in the lives of others, and all of God's great universe is conspiring in our favor. And it is with great gratitude that we all say, Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Amen. Okay, so let me introduce these women who are in my life, and I'm so grateful for each one of them. Let me start with Dr. Jennifer Finn. Is a board-certified chiropractor since 1996. After a routine mammogram in 2008 showed some suspicious grains, comparison with a previous mammogram prompted a biopsy and showed breast cancer. After consulting with several doctors and a breast surgeon about her diagnosis, after carefully considering her options and her risk factors, at age 40, Dr. Jennifer chose to have a double mastectomy with reconstruction. The surgeries were performed consecutively, and she woke up cancer-free with no further treatment. She says that the 13 years since her recovery, physical and emotional, from surgery has been a journey of growth and spiritual awareness. Welcome, Dr. Jennifer.
Thank you.
Nice to have you here. Let's go to Tyra Glaze. Tyra is a single mother of two boys. And in March of 2013, at age 29, this disease does not discriminate age. It's crazy. Anyway, she was diagnosed with triple negative breast cancer. Tyra she discovered a red bruise on her breast. And when she went to the doctor, he told her that there was nothing wrong. Her breasts were normal. Tyra felt differently. So before leaving the doctor's office, she persisted and suggested she have a mammogram done. Breast cancer has affected several women in Tyra's family, and she was diagnosed with cancer. She then took the genetic BRCA test, and her results were positive. Tyra's treatment plan included chemotherapy, surgery, and radiation. She also wrote a children's book called My Mom is My Hero. It's her story about her journey and the importance of God and family, especially when going through cancer. And we'll talk about how you connect with each one of these women a little bit later on. Tyra, welcome. I'm so happy to have you here.
Thank you.
We'll go to Dannielle. Dannielle Weiler is a two-time breast cancer survivor. At age 48, she's the mother of two. Age 20, at 27 and 11, big gap there. She's also, that beautiful face right there, that young looking beautiful face, is also a grandmother of a 10-month-old little boy. Originally from Binghamton, New York, Dannielle moved to Northeastern Pennsylvania in 2006, where she settled into her first home. In 2015, she was diagnosed with cancer in the right breast and required lumpectomy and radiation. Then in 2021, just very recently, she was diagnosed with cancer in the other breast, in the left breast, also requiring lumpectomy and radiation. Both were caught in very early stages, and Dannielle encourages regular self-examination. We're going to talk more about your situation too. And then there's Kat Cannabis. Kat is the also known as the Queen of Dreams. Okay, she is a co-publisher in my book, in our book publishing company, We Be Books, and she's a 3-time breast cancer survivor. Her diagnosis actually came in her dreams, and we're going to have Kat talk about that. She's an author, a lecturer, an internationally award-winning, best-selling author of many books, including Chaos to Clarity, Crappy to Happy, Mayhem to Miracles, Dreams That Can Save Your Life, and Surviving Cancerland. She's also a columnist in Biz Catalyst 360 magazine. She's been seen on Dr. Oz, The Doctors, CBS and NBC, and Kat promotes patient advocacy and connecting with inner and divine guidance through your dreams for successful health, wealth, and relationships. Kat, it's always good to see you.
Thank you.
So how shall we start this conversation? Let's see. I know each one of you personally, and I am, when I found out that you all had experienced some sort of engagement, let's say, with breast cancer, and we are in October, which is traditionally known as Breast Cancer Awareness Month. I thought, what better way than to get some women who are warriors and get them together to talk about their experience, because as we know, breast cancer is no longer a death sentence for people. So, and not just women. I know a man who had breast cancer, and I actually invited him to come to the show, but he did not reply. I guess he's busy, but it doesn't discriminate. So let's go first to Dr. Jennifer. Let's start with you.
Okay.
How do you handle when somebody says to you, you have cancer? What was your first thought? What went through your mind? Shock, right?
Yes, I've talked to a lot of women after my breast cancer diagnosis, and I remember very vividly the swiftness of shock to fear to I'm going to die. I mean, literally, you go from feeling normal to, oh no, I'm going to die. And quickly, you need to step back. I called my aunt who had just finished her chemo for breast cancer. And she was very calming on the phone in that she said, it's just step 1. Step 2 is you make the doctor appointment. You just focus on the next step. You don't go all the way down the street, so to speak. So that was extremely helpful. And I find that helpful for other friends, family, patients that are getting cancer diagnosis, whether it's breast cancer or another type. That's just step 1. You focus on step 1. Step 2 is the next step. We don't go to step 84, so to speak. So and of course for me, it was a Friday evening when the doctor called at 5:00. And then your whole weekend is a mix of emotions and why me and how did this happen and what's going to happen to me kind of thing, until Monday when you can actually schedule
Make
an
that
appointment.
call and
Right.
get to step 2.
Right.
So you said your aunt had just undergone her treatment for cancer. Is this something that's genetically running in your family?
No, there is no genetic predisposition in my family. The doctor stated that what was seen on my mammogram was probably something that would have been detected postmenopausal, which is typically women in my family have postmenopausal, not typically, two other women. And he said because of the digital film, we were able to catch it. If it was traditional mammogram x-ray, probably wouldn't have caught it. So, no genetic link, but definitely a history there.
Yeah. And thank goodness for digital film.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
And thank goodness for the previous mammogram. I mean, I had just had one at the age of 37 because I had cystic breast, and that was a baseline. So if I hadn't had that, we would have probably watched it, and who knows what would have happened. But
yeah. Very good. Thanks. I just hope that all the breast care centers around the country have these newer machines that people can be diagnosed as early as you were and take action so that, more lives are saved from. But I know I'm hearing you say you automatically go to, I'm going to die. My sister also had breast cancer, and that was her first thought as well. When, even though technology and medicine has come so far, it's a little bit scary, I would imagine. And thank God I haven't had to experience it myself. But as you can see, I know a lot of people who have. But what about you, Tyra? What about your diagnosis? How did it feel for you? I mean, you had your boys were very young when you were diagnosed, correct? So tell me a little bit about your experience when you got diagnosed.
Wow. When I got diagnosed with breast cancer, as Ms. Teresa said, I was age 29. March of 2013, the age of 29, I heard the words, "You have breast cancer." Not just breast cancer, but triple negative breast cancer. I must say that I was strong. I really was, but my main concern was my kids. I remember when they told me, they pulled me in the room and they was like, "Miss Glaze," and I went by myself. It was like a Tuesday, because here where I live, like if you get the news on a Tuesday, or if they call you and tell you to come in on a Tuesday, you kind of know that those are the days that they give that report. So I just dropped my knees and I was like, my kids. So honestly, it wasn't about me. I had so much more to think about than me, and it was my kids at that point, because everybody that know me, I mean, I know mothers love their kids, daddies love their kids, fathers love their kids, but my fight was really for my kids. So I don't think I went from, as Miss Kathleen would say, I'm sorry, Miss, who that just, Miss Jennifer, I don't think I went from 0 to 100 about me per se, but about my kids. So, like I say, for the most part, I was very strong, but those mixed emotions, I did experience those as well. So I don't know if it was because my grandmother experienced it and my great grandmother, and I kind of sort of saw them fight with breast cancer, which made me kind of, I won't say just take it and be like, okay, it's going to be okay, because, each person is different, but those women were very close to me. So to see them go through something like that, I think I kind of got a little strength from my grandmother. And then at the same time, when I went through breast cancer, my second cousin went through breast cancer with me. But we were different stages. We had different, symptoms. So it kind of like gave me another look on another side. Well, it's not just you. You're not just being punished. Somebody, because sometimes we feel like, well, God, why punish me? Or God, why me? But I also like I said, had another family member that went through the same time.
So you kind of supported each other through your treatment and whatnot.
You know my story, Miss Teresa. No, ma'am, we didn't. Even though we were second cousins, but we, like I said, because we were different cancer is different with different people. And she was older than me. I was like 29. She was probably already 35. So she had a big support system. I didn't really, that's a whole nother story, but no, we didn't. So I talked a lot about my situation, and she was much more quiet, on the quiet side. You know, her inner circle knew about what was going on, but I was on the same regimen, the same routine. And I wanted people to know what I was going through without making it like such a sad story, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, you're a warrior. I'll tell you that. She definitely, and her book, My Mom is My Hero, is about, being present with your family and getting support, through your family and prayer and God. And it's really a great thing. That's on Amazon.com. We'll talk more about that in a little bit. Dannielle, thanks, Tyra. Thanks so much. Dannielle, what went through your mind the first time you got diagnosed, and then you had to face that diagnosis the second time? Talk to me about your experience.
Well, first I wanted to say it's an honor to be in all of your presence. You're right. We do, we do share that club that we didn't ask to be in. So it's very encouraging, and it's nice hearing all of your stories. I did have two very different experiences with both of my diagnosis. My first one, I did go through some of the crazy emotions, but my first diagnosis, I remember being told that I had cancer, but I also remember being told it's a best case scenario. You have the type of cancer that's very easily treated. You caught it early. So I immediately went into fix it mode. I started making lists. I started making plans. I was going to fix all of this, and I was going to beat it. And that was the end of it. And everything worked out, and it was great. And year after year, I was going for my checkups. I was doing what I was supposed to be doing. I was supposed to pretty much live a very simple, healthy life. And it was just a fluke that I got it, and I was going to be able to move on, and everything was going to be great. I made it to my 5-year mark. I celebrated, and, I was like, great, it's going to be cake from here on out. And a year later, I went for my routine mammogram after 6 years. And very shortly after that, I found out that it was not a reoccurrence. I got a second breast cancer on the other side. It was completely unrelated to the other side. And this time it was an aggressive cancer. And I remember standing in my kitchen and waiting for, I was just making a really nice dinner for my family. And I remember I had the music playing, and, I was really happy about this new recipe I was trying. And it was like 6:30 at night, I think. And my doctor had called me, and I saw her on the caller ID. And I think I kind of knew. And I remember I sat down, and she gave me the news, and she says, "I'm sorry, I don't know how this happened." And she gave me the diagnosis. That time was much harder for me because, your first time you're raring to go, and you're going to beat it, and that's it. And you hear that you have it a second time, and you have an aggressive cancer. And I remember hanging up the phone, and my son came over to me, and I remember he grabbed me and he said, "Mommy, dance with me, dance with me." And I remember grabbing him and just telling him how much I loved him. And I just kept thinking in my head, in about 5 minutes, I'm about to completely destroy your world. And that's all I kept thinking. I didn't want to let go of that moment where he was just twirling me around and dancing. And I remember I waited until everybody was home, and I sat them down, and that's when I became very much in touch with the fact that there's a good chance I might die from this after getting it a second time. But it didn't turn out that way. And I'm very blessed, and I'm very happy to be sitting here talking to all you ladies and being able to tell you my story. So.
And I think I met you right after you got the second diagnosis. Yes.
Yeah, no, I met you before that. I met you before. We were in small groups together, and that's when we recognized how we knew each other from where I work. And then while we were doing small groups, it was during one of our small groups that I had found out, and I announced it in one of our small groups that I had cancer. So
yeah. You're a real warrior. You're a real warrior. She's like me, she's a researcher. And so she did. And today, wouldn't all of you agree that you really have to do your homework, and you have to know like what's available to you, what's out there, where's the best place to go, who's the best surgeon, what are the best treatment options? You know, there's so much stuff going on today. I know there's so many doctors are leaning toward, and I think Dr. Jennifer, we can talk about this a little bit, leaning toward more natural treatments for, you know, and ways that you can help your body to stay free of cancer. So I think that, you know, there's a lot more available. And I know you did your research. You had a whole book full of stuff.
Oh yeah, I have a binder that's about that thick, full of information, case studies, everything. And I brought it with me to almost every appointment. And my doctors were like, oh boy, here she comes. But they appreciated it. They've actually learned a few things along my journey. So it, you know, but yeah, you have to be your own advocate, because nobody's going to do it for you.
Exactly. Here are we here? Kat, we're going to talk to you for a couple of minutes, and then we're going to take a break. But Kat, you experienced it 3 times around. 3 times a charm, or 3 times? I mean, really?
Yeah. Well, mine was a little different from everybody else's in that I had dreams. I had gone for my mammogram and my blood test and my physical, my pap smear, you know, all that stuff that we go through every single year. I'd have a mammogram every single year since the time I was 29. And I had very large breasts. So it was important to be able to get that baseline that we were talking about earlier. And my mammogram came back as healthy. My blood test was great. My physical exam, doctor said great, pap smear, everything. Went home, and that night I had a dream. And in the dream, I was having a regular dream like we all do. And all of a sudden my dream froze, like the picture on your computer. And in the center of that computer page was a little dot that opened up into a door. And through that door, through that window that became a door, walked a Franciscan monk. And he walked up to me and he said, "You have breast cancer. Come with me. We have something to tell you." And this monk.
Wait. Hold it right there. Nothing like suspense. We have to go to a break. So we'll be right back.
Don't go away. The monks will be right back.
Yeah. We'll be right back after this message.
What if dreams can diagnose your life? What if we can meet the love of our life in dreams? Join host Kat O'Keefe-Canavas, the #1 internationally best-selling author of Dreams That Can Save Your Life, written with Duke University medical doctor Larry Burke. Dreaming Healing is where we'll explore dreams, research, and interpret dreams from you, the caller. Dreaming Healing shows can be heard every Tuesday at 9 a.m. and 9 p.m. Eastern, with live shows on the first and third evenings at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific Time on syndicated Dream Vision 7 Radio Network. Come live your dreams out loud with Kat.
Are miracles real? Can you move from mayhem to miracles? 30 prominent authors say yes as they share their high fives and down lows of challenges, abuse, addiction, and love. Experience hope, the magic elixir of miracles, through the personal stories of New York Times bestselling authors James Redfield, Dr. Bernie Siegel, Sister Jenna, Reverend Temple Hayes, and many more. If you like bestsellers, chaos to clarity, and crappy to happy, you'll love crying and laughing through Mayhem to Miracles. Sacred Stories of Transformational Hope. Available now on Amazon and in bookstores worldwide.
Omega Institute, offering workshops, retreats, and online learning dedicated to awakening the best in the human spirit. For over 40 years, Omega has seen more than 1 million people come through its doors to grow, learn, and find a greater sense of purpose. With over 350 workshops to choose from, Omega offers something for everyone. Located in Rhinebeck, New York, just 90 miles north of New York City, Omega's natural environment and quiet pace allow for extraordinary experiences to unfold. Learn more at eomega.org or call 877-944-2002. Again, 877-944-2002.
This is Dream Vision 7 Radio Network, uniting mankind with universal love. Our shows are created from the heart, bringing each listener to a place of divine enlightenment. Breathe, relax, and enjoy. Let life flow.
Every time they say that, I just like fall into that. Let life flow, you know? And I think I make the same comment every time we come back. So, all right. So before we left for the break, we were talking to Kat Cannabis, and she was about to tell us about this monk that walked through the door into her dream. So let's pick it up from there.
So this monk, Teresa, this monk said to me, come with me, we have something to tell you. And he led me through the sacred dream door into a place that I call the realm between realms. It's neither the living nor the dead, but it's a place where both can visit. And this monk, there were 2 other monks in there. So there were 3 monks in all. One of the monks took my hand and placed it on my breast and said, do you feel that? And I said, yes. He said, that's breast cancer. You go back to your doctor tomorrow without an appointment and you tell him you need a second set of tests. So long story short, this happened 3 times. It took me 3 months. Until finally, when the monks walked through the dream door and I saw him, I started crying. And I said, I've gone back to the doctor. I without an appointment. I did what you said. He gave me the same mammograms. He gave me the same blood tests. He gave me the same physical and told me I was healthy, go home. If I do have breast cancer and you want me to live, do something to help me. And he reached into his sleeve and pulled out a tiny little white feather. He handed it to me and he said, this is an angel's feather. Use it like a sword against your doctor's arguments. Tell him you need exploratory surgery. Don't take no for an answer. And he turned around and walked out of my dream. So the next day I went back to my doctor and I said that. And when I first Teresa, when I said I need exploratory surgery because I know something's wrong, he looked at me like I had just poured gasoline on myself and set myself on fire. He was like, no, I can't do that. That's against hospital policy. That's against my policy. But I imagined that feather. I imagined holding it at him. And it was like somebody glamored him, you know, like those vampires say, oh, go jump off the building. And somebody goes up there and jumps off the building. The doctor left, went out, made an appointment for me for surgery 3 days after the new year, came back in and told me he'd made surgery, an appointment for me for surgery. And I said at that time, who's going to do the surgery? And he said, I am. And I said, shouldn't we have an oncologist present? He said, you do not have breast cancer. You're too young for breast cancer. It's not in your family. There's no cancer anywhere. You probably just have a fibrosis. No, I'm going to do the surgery. So
how old were you, Kat? Not to interrupt you. How old were you at that point?
At that time, I was 39 years old.
Okay.
39 years old. And so I went in for the surgery. And during the surgery, Teresa, I heard him say, we got it. I woke myself up out of anesthesia, climbed up that slimy, well of a black dream where you're floating. And I opened my eyes and I said, what was it? That's how anxious I was. Mm-hmm. And he looked at me. All I could see were these eyes all around the room. They're all looking at me, these eyeballs and this bright light above me. And I heard a voice behind me say, did she just speak? It was the anesthesiologist. He came up over the top of my head and looked at me and said, did she just speak? And my doctor said, it's what we thought it was, Kat. It's just a fibrosis. We got it. We got it all. You're fine. And he said to the anesthesiologist, give her more. And I went right back down into that well. Well, when I woke up in the recovery room, my doctor came in, closed the curtain behind him, came over and held my hand. And I knew something was really wrong. And he said to me, pathology didn't like what they saw when they cut open the tumor. So I said, so do I have breast cancer? And he said, yes. He goes, now I have to refer you to a specialist. And I said, the one I wanted, the surgery. And he just kind of looked down and he said, yes. And I said, why do I need a specialist now? He says, well, we have to go in and check for margins, clear margins, and lymph nodes. So I had to go in for a second surgery because my doctor just wasn't listening to me. But it turned out that I was in stage 2 and it was in my lymph nodes. So I ended up having multiple surgeries, and that was the first time. And then throughout this time, I remember talking to this specialist. It was the chief of oncological surgery, chief of oncology, and chief of radiology. Those 3 were working on me. And I said, why did the mammograms not pick up stage 2 breast cancer that was ductal carcinoma? And they said, well, you know, mammograms are only as good as the people who take them and the people who read them, and we're the best. So now, fast forward 5 years, almost like you, Dannielle, 5 years. And I went in to have my mammograms read in front of me by the radiologist. And he said, congratulations, Mrs. Cannabis, you're cancer-free. This is your 5-year anniversary today. And one of those monks orbed into the room and pointed to one of the mammography films and said, tell him to look right there. And I was thinking to myself, oh my God, tell me you're not here. And so I said to the radiologist, what about right there? And he said, that's not the breast that had cancer. This one did. You're healthy, go home. And I said, but look closer right here. And he turned and he looked at me in his chair and he said, go home, you're healthy. So I went down to L2, lower level radiology, because I had to have lumpectomy and radiation therapy the first time. And I said, I need an MRI. And the chief of radiology said, I just talked to the doctor upstairs. We think you're having an anxiety attack. You're healthy. Go home. So I did. I went home. And that night, I had the scariest of scary dreams. In this dream, the monks walked through my dream door again. My dream stopped. The door opened. The monks walked through. But this time, they had on doctor's coats. They had on these doctor's coats, and they were holding my mammograms in front of me. And they're just standing there, and they're getting closer and kind of going like this. And I look closer, I see my name in bold black letters on the bottom. And all of a sudden, poof, the doctor monk turned into a great big scary clown with red curly hair and big white shoes, was rocking back and forth laughing. And I said, I got it. I got it. I went back to the doctor the next day and I said, I want a mammogram. I want an MRI. He said, you don't qualify for one. I said, let me explain it to you. I'm going to lie down here on your floor right here in your office with all the people watching, and I'm going to kick my feet and scream like a 2-year-old that's had their candy taken away. I'm going to embarrass you beyond compare. I'm not leaving. I got my MRI, and I had a 9 by 11 centimeter cancerous area. That's stage 4. And they're all running for the hills now going, oh my gosh. And so I said, how did this happen? And they said, well, you know, some people just, their breasts are dense and it doesn't show up on a mammogram. I said, if mammograms didn't show up my cancer the first time, why are you using mammograms to look for cancer the second time? You told me mammograms are only as good as the people who take them and read them, and that's what you were doing. And he said, well, you know, I don't know. I guess you're just, you know, you're one of those unlucky people. So anyhow, I said, look, what I want to do is I want to have a double mastectomy. Well, no, we can't do that because your other breast is healthy. So it turned out I started arguing with him again after I had treatment because I wanted a double mastectomy. And finally I said, you know what? Doctors are a dime a dozen. You can get them anywhere. And so I went to New York and I found a surgeon, a chief of oncological surgery, who did a double mastectomy on me. And the next day he called me into his office and he said, you had breast cancer in the other breast too that they didn't get.
Wow.
And I said, so I had 3? And he said, yes. And that was 25 years ago, guys.
Wow. Well, so Kat, I've often heard you say science can only go so far and then comes God. Mm-hmm. So because of my faith, I firmly believe that God uses whatever he can to get our attention. And sometimes it's the dreams like what you had. And I mean, if we go into the Bible, we know that people have had dreams that have been prophecy and whatnot. And so it does not surprise me that you had so many dreams. And you actually wrote 2 books relative to this. You wrote Surviving Cancer Land and mm-hmm. Dreams That Can Save Your Life, which you had many people write together about dreams that have happened to them and their lives were saved because of it. So, hey girls, do you believe that your dreams can save your life after that story?
They're all in this book.
Yeah, they're all in that book. Yeah. Amazing. I'm a firm believer that, however we have to get the message across. And like you said, like we talked about, you have to advocate for yourself.
You do. You have to become an e-patient. And like Dannielle, I would walk in with my journals because I wrote everything down in journals. I had toilet paper taped to the inside of my journals. Every time I get it, what I call the God hit, I would put it in my journal. I would write it on toilet paper. I would write it on napkins, receipts, tape it in there. And that's what I wrote the book Surviving Cancerland from. All the dreams in it, all the hits during the day, all the God nudges, do this, don't do that, change this, don't change that. And so I think that journaling is extremely important. And I would walk in with that journal just like you, Dannielle, and they would go, oh my God, she's back. Yeah. But the truth of the matter is, it was a combination of my doctors healed me with their medicine, and then God got me to a point where I could be healed by their medicine through dreams.
Yeah. Awesome. Thanks, Kat.
Mm-hmm.
So the next question I'm going to ask you guys is, how has this experience, whether you've gone through it once, twice, or 3 times, how has this changed who you are as an individual, who you are in relationship to whatever you believe, and who you are in relationship to the people who love you? So Dr. Jennifer, let's start with you. How has this changed you? Do you feel you've grown from this? I mean, I know you. I could answer that question, but you go ahead and tell us. She's my chiropractor, by the way.
As a wellness family chiropractor, a lot of my practice is take care of your body and it'll take care of you. So I was taking care of my body. I was in great shape. I was eating healthy. I was doing all the right things. So to then be told I have cancer, wait a minute. I'm doing all the right things. So that was an awakening of, you can still be doing all the right things. The body has limitations. Everybody's body has limitations, and that we need to honor that within our body, that we could take as much vitamin C as we want. We may still get the cold. So I had to go through a process of acceptance, because there was a lot of blaming of myself. Like, maybe I didn't exercise enough. Maybe I didn't breastfeed my son long enough. Maybe I didn't, there was a lot of that self-doubt of, what did I do wrong to get this disease? And there was also that looking outside of myself and seeing other people who were not honoring their bodies, who were not taking care of themselves, and they didn't have cancer. So how do I reconcile that within me? I don't want that person to get cancer, but at the same time, it was an awakening of, I could take care of myself, and my body might still fail me. I mean, the reality is, we do have a deadline. As much as we don't want to talk about it or focus on it, I have a better appreciation of the here and now. is what I would say. I have a better appreciation of getting old, because that's the goal, is to get old. We may not want to look old or feel old, but the goal is to get old. And I think we lose track of that sometimes, and we get ahead of ourselves. So by having that cancer, it has a lot, and I'm not saying I am good at this every day, because I am not, but it has allowed me to recenter to the here and now. What is important now? You know what, if I need to close the office to go see my son play a sports game, I'm gonna do it, because it's now. You know, so a lot of that acceptance of it's okay to close the practice and go celebrate something that's happening, as opposed to just be, I'm working, I have to take care of these patients. And I would say that's probably the biggest change for myself. And sometimes I fall down at it. And life gets in the way, and we get into routines, but I have to remind myself that the cancer was a blessing, in a sense of it allowed me to refocus on what's important, family, that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Great. Yeah. There's a blessing inside of everything, no matter how bad it seems. So, and we are right on time for our next break. Second segment is over already. We have one more to go. This is going too fast for my liking, and we'll see you when we get back.
Okay.
Darkest hours to brightest moments, transformation from despair to happiness, and chaos to clarity. Real people, real pain, real healing. Life-threatening illness, death, abusive relationships, divorce, and overcoming addiction are challenges these men and women faced head-on. See how they emerged stronger and happier. Buy the new book, Chaos to Clarity, Sacred Stories of Transformational Change, by Reverend Patricia Caginello and Kathleen O'Keefe Canavas. Available on sacredstoriespublishing.com and worldwide through Amazon and other retailers.
In a world facing annihilation, a miraculous African nun rises to become the first female pope through a web of war, murder, and betrayal. Loved by some, hated by many, she becomes the deadly target of Islamic terrorists and her own cardinals as she introduces a new vision that will either save humanity or accelerate its destruction. 4 people must race against a nuclear holocaust to learn her astonishing secret. Pope Annalisa is available at petercanova.com, Amazon, and other online booksellers and bookstores worldwide.
Did you know that every word you speak matters? What you say and how you say it can make or break a relationship or shift the outcome of any situation. Are your conversations making a difference? Faith in God, gratitude, authenticity, and giving are Teresa Velardi's heart. It's in this spirit that she's focused on making a difference in the lives she's blessed to touch. Conversations That Make a Difference is now on syndicated Dream Vision 7 radio network every Tuesday at 5 a.m. and 5 p.m. Eastern Time, with live call-in shows every first and third Tuesday at 5 p.m. Eastern.
Why are we here? How can we be happy? Questions asked from millennials to boomers. Crappy to happy. Sacred Stories of Transformational Joy answers them using true stories of grit, grace, and love. James Redfield, author of The Celestine Prophecy, wrote in the foreword, "This book is a seminar about emerging truths and offers grounded solutions through the art of the comeback." Dr. Bernie Siegel, a contributing author, wrote, "Bodies die, but spirits and consciousness survive and recycle." So, grab some tissues, open your book, and prepare to cry and laugh till it heals. Crappy to Happy by Reverend Ariel Patricia and Kathleen O'Keefe Canavas. Available from Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and booksellers worldwide.
This is Dream Vision 7 Radio Network, uniting mankind with universal love. Our shows are created from the heart, bringing each listener to a place of divine enlightenment. Breathe, relax, and enjoy. Let life flow.
I have to smile every time I hear that. So those books that people are talking they're talking about in the commercials, Chaos to Clarity, Crappy to Happy, and Mayhem to Miracles. Our friend over there in the corner, Kat Canavos, is co-author and putting this all together. And I have a story in each one of these books. So if you're interested, they're all on Amazon.com and you can get your copies there. So Ms. Tyra, we're going to go to you and we're going to ask you the same question. How has this experience of going through breast cancer changed your life? How has it changed the life of your children? I'm going to talk specifically about that with you because you've been gracious enough to write your story in a book. You want to hold up your book again? People can get that book on Amazon.com as well. My Mom is My Hero. And tell me about how this has changed your life in relation to yourself and who you are today, as opposed to who you were before diagnosis and treatment, and who you are in relationship to your children.
Well, I have to give all credit to God. I'm sorry. I really can't take none of it because I am a godly woman. I am a woman now. I am 38. So being diagnosed so young, it just was so fast. I won't say the average, but I would probably say most people look forward to having their 30th birthday. So I had to do like a reshift of my life. I didn't have time to party and have a dirty 30, as they would call it. So it was like God was like, no. I have a purpose for you. You will live. You will not die. And it happened as such. And just like Miss Kathleen was saying, we could go on and on, so I'm gonna make it brief. But when I found my knot, well, no, it wasn't a knot, it was a bruise. So let me rephrase that. I felt a just a perfect breast, but God was all in the midst is generally what I'm saying. So I just thank him for allowing me to see the bigger picture. I saw beyond cancer. Cancer was just a comma, just like they say. It wasn't a period in my life. So being young, being a single mother with 2 kids, God was with me every step of the way. And like I said, my fight was definitely for my kids. It wasn't about me at that particular time. I think I probably would have been, because I am feisty. I think I probably would have took a different route about my treatment plan if I didn't have kids. So God was definitely in the midst. Because sometimes I can just, Miss Teresa, know I am so independent. I tend to do a lot of things on my own. I am a go-getter. So all credit is to God. And basically with my kids, I kept it from my kids. I didn't want them to know because I know how I felt when I heard the word cancer, and I was much more older than the age of 4 and 7. So I wanted my kids to, I didn't want them to look at it as being my mama see. I just didn't want to take their childhood from them because my young adulthood had me. You hit 30, like I said, that's that perfect mark. You only turn 31. Well, that's age, but so my kids are they have grown into some very mature young boys. They're ages 13 and 16 now, and they're my little advocates. They advocate with me a lot with women, other kids. They're oftentimes sharing their story as well. So God has really been good to us, and I just see life different now. I focus a lot more on Tyra and still the boys, but I really do focus a lot on me because I know what I've been through, and I kind of went through it alone. So God just gave me superpowers. So I am definitely a warrior to the world and a hero to my sons.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Yeah. And thank you so much for coming here today and for sharing that. Now, unlike the fact that you're welcome, and unlike the fact that you did not have that conversation with your boys while you were going through your treatment and your surgeries and everything else that you had to have done, your book, on the other hand, opens the door for people to have conversations with their children and to, experience the power of family and the power of prayer and all of the things that, you stand for. So despite the fact that you did not bring that conversation to the table while you were going through your experience, you did on the other side of it, and it's going to help many, many, many families. So thank you for writing that. I appreciate it. And thank you for letting me be a part of it. I'm honored.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. Dannielle, how has this changed you? How has this experience changed you? You have young children too, and you have a grandbaby on top of it. So how has this experience, made your life different? And would you do anything differently?
Well, my first time around, my youngest son was very young. He knew there was something going on, but he just didn't, he was only 4. I did hold a lot of it in. I think I wanted to portray myself as being a very strong, with it, I got everything together. I buried a lot of my feelings emotionally, because I didn't want people to have the impression that I was this weak cancer patient. I was going to beat this. It wasn't going to beat me. And I ended up doing a lot of damage to myself emotionally and psychologically because of that. So this time around, when I got it, the healing for me was being very vocal and open about it. I mean, I'm not out there shoving it down people's throats, but I want to be an advocate for people. I've had it twice. I've been through some things that some people would consider scary. And I decided to document my journey publicly and reach out to as many people as I can to let them know it is not that scary. It's not a death sentence. It's not the end of the world. These are things that you can do no matter what type of personality you have, no matter what you've been through in your life. These are things that you can do. So I've documented everything I possibly can publicly on my Facebook page for anybody to go and see anytime, my entire journey. I love talking about it with anybody who's willing to talk to me about it. I've had a lot of people reach out to me and say, I never thought to go do this or thought to go do that. And I've been watching what you've been going through. And, it made me think about a lot of things. That means everything to me, because this time around, I have felt very much connected to God. He has helped me through this journey a lot. A lot of people would say, Dannielle, why would God do this to you? Why did God do this to you and give this to you? I actually, this time around, felt very honored. I thanked God every single day for getting cancer. I know that sounds odd, but, I feel that he chose me, to get cancer again, because he felt that I was a strong enough person to get through it and to be a voice for other women. And, we're all God's children, and it doesn't matter whether I'm out there selling millions of books or talking on stage across theaters across the country. If I can reach just one person, just one of God's children, to save their life because of information that I'm able to put out there with my own experience, that is enough for me. I try to reach as many people as I can, and I'm still in the beginning stages of my journey getting out there, but being very public and open and just putting it out there and hearing the response that I've gotten back from people about it, and knowing that people are not as fearful anymore based on my experiences, being able to go out there and get their mammograms or get that checkup or change their diets or, take different steps to, we're all kind of getting in touch with our age now, and we're realizing we're not 25 anymore, and things are starting to change a little bit. So just being able to bring awareness and knowing that this is a gift that I feel that I've gotten from God, that he's used me as a tool to reach out to other people. I actually feel blessed about it. So
awesome.
That was my experience.
If we can come through any experience with gratitude, we've won whatever the war is that took us through it, So I really believe that, grateful hearts are able to speak gratitude and love into the lives of other people, regardless of what the experience is that brought you through to that point. Huge advocate for gratitude on a daily basis. Thank you, Dannielle. You're a warrior. You really are. You all are.
We are.
You all are. Kat, how is your life different? And someday you're going to write that book. I know you are.
You've got lots of help here.
Yes.
Yeah. So, well, my answer to that kind of encompasses everything that has been talked about here. Tyra was talking about purpose, and earlier the question, I think it was from Jennifer, why me? And Dannielle, why did God do this to you? I remember after I was finally diagnosed the second time, after I kept going back to the doctors and saying, something's wrong, I need an MRI. It took me 3.5 months to get it. And when they came back and they found it was, 9 by 11 centimeter area, I was cleaning the kitchen and I would just keep crying because I'm thinking, who can survive recurrence with a 9 by 11 centimeter tumor? Nobody can do that. I can't do that. And I went up to take a nap and I had cried myself to sleep. And I dreamt that I woke up and standing by my bed were the 3 monks. And I looked up at them and I said, look, I know why you guys are here. I'm going to die. I got it. I'm okay with that. I got it. But you may want to warn God before I get up there, because I have some real bones to pick with him. There is nothing I've done in this life or a past life or any other life that I deserve to have this once, let alone twice. So, and a 9 by 11 centimeter tumor that keeps getting missed by the medical community. So you just might want to warn him that I'm coming. Okay. And then monks just kind of looked down at me and they said, Kat, don't you remember? And I said, remember what? They said, you told us before you were born that you wanted to come down onto the earth plane when God was being taken out of everything and science was being worshiped as God. And you said you wanted to show that science goes so far and then comes God. And we told you we'd be with you every step of the way. And we have been. And I looked at them and I said, what the heck was I smoking up there? I laughed and walked out of my dream. But then I realized this was my life purpose, to do exactly what I said I was going to do. And they were right. I didn't die. This is my purpose. And so I'm fulfilling my purpose by writing these books, Surviving Cancerland, using dreams to connect with your inner guidance, your spirit guides, your guardian angels. I do eat all organic food now, but I was always really healthy and athletic and was never, I never had any other diseases. I didn't have diabetes. I didn't have high blood pressure. I didn't have anything. So this is my purpose and I'm fulfilling it by writing books and speaking to large groups. And so hopefully, I figure that as long as I do that, I'm not going to die until I fulfill that purpose.
Exactly.
So I don't really focus on dying anymore, because I've looked at death in the face a few times and I realized death is just a friend who comes to get us when it's time to go home.
Yeah. So Kat, how can people get in touch with you? We only have a couple of minutes,
Okay.
about a minute and a half left.
Go to thequeenofdreams.com, thequeenofdreams.com, and you'll find me.
Awesome. Thank you. Dr. Jennifer, if people want to get in touch with you, how can they get in touch with you?
I have a website, finnchiropracticcenter.com. I have an email address as well there. It's just FINN, like Huckleberry.
Tyra, if people want to get in touch with you, how can they reach you?
They can reach me via my IG at fierce_emporium_LLC.
Thank you. And listen, and if you want a warrior t-shirt, that's where to go to get one.
Thank you.
Pierce Emporium LLC on Instagram. Dannielle, if somebody wants to get in touch with you, where do we go? And read your story. I mean, let's read your journey that you've logged on Facebook too. So where would you like them to go?
They can go right to my Facebook page, Dannielle Marie, DANNIELLE, space Marie, MARIE. You can, anybody could message me. I have my whole entire journey documented there publicly, so anybody could see, step by step where I've been with this. That's where I'm starting my journey. That's not where I'm finishing it. I have a lot to say, and you and I have a lot to talk about in the future, because I do plan on officially documenting my journey. But for now, anybody can reach out to me via my Facebook.
Thank you. And thank you all for being here. We'll see you next time on Conversations That Make a Difference. Make sure your conversations are making a difference.
Time for Conversations That Make a Difference with host Teresa Velardi every Tuesday at 5 a.m. and 5 p.m. Eastern, with live call-in shows every first and third Tuesday on syndicated Dream Vision 7 radio network. Thank you for listening, and thank you to our producer Rachel and to our station owner Deborah Beauvais, working behind the scenes. Be sure to go to conversationsthatmakeadifference.com for your free gift. Make sure your conversations make a difference.
This is Dream Vision 7 Radio Network, uniting mankind with universal love. Our shows are created from the heart, bringing each listener to a place of divine enlightenment.